Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Overwatch Open. We've had a bit of a shuffle around because of scheduling and because one team was ready and the other wasn't. We will not be showing you Cloud9 as I promised. Please forgive me.
What? No Cloud9?
What?
Calm down.
That's what we're here for.
Josh, you calm right down. He's so aggressive, by the way. No one knows this, but
really
Joshy,
mad at that.
You can tell he's got a very aggressive demeanor. Oh,
it's true.
In the green room, he's just throwing things. He hit me once. That's why I have this mark on my arm.
Yep, totally did that.
Totally wasn't me falling off a treadmill. I'll tell you that story later. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what we actually do get to enjoy. You just saw Liquid before, and now you get to see them again. This time, they clashed with TSM. Now, this is a team that you will, of course, recognize if you did see the standings graphic, because they found some success last week. We got to see them in the grand finals versus Envious. Now, gentlemen, we see them again trying to secure that spot. They've got an abundance of points, gets them closer to the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure they'd rather just get that guaranteed click your fingers and you're there by getting the grand final win today, or rather tomorrow. What are you thinking about TSM?
The instant invite certainly is going to be a nice thing for them. It's actually interesting because TSM has the most points right now and Liquid has 0. So it's like the most points against the least. On paper, you might think TSM is going to run away with this, but Liquid actually, of course, we just watched them play against One Shot and had a great game. AZK specifically just not missing very often at all. And if he can keep that up, if he can actually stay alive long enough to do that to TSM, could still work out for Team Liquid.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest question is, like, how much did we actually see from Liquid, Josh? Like, you know, you just got to watch that game, you got to cast that game. You didn't seem convinced. I was like sitting there, like trying to sing their praises, and ZP was having none of it. You the same?
So the payload map, Dorado, obviously was textbook, very good. Team Liquid did a great performance, but then King of the Hill map, Lijiang Tower, One Shot fought back valiantly. It took 2 rounds. They actually had the lead in that map for a short time. So I think you can't write off Liquid against TSM. They're still in that tier below Envy, where anyone can win a game, and so this could go a full 3, and I would not be surprised.
I think it almost comes down to if you have DPS players that aren't really missing a lot of shots, then that's really, really useful. But at the same time, if you're in a situation where you're going up against the likes of Nicholas and Torque, then you are going to have your hands full. You don't just have to do well, but you have to sort out, you have to be better than the opposing team's DPS players as well.
Absolutely, you do. Now, Josh, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
You cast these guys a lot. And I've never done this before. I just like to play games with these guys. Just like to, really make them sweat. And I know you've got makeup on, and sweating with makeup on is never fun.
You're going to induce his rage again.
Yeah.
He is.
Wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
You don't realize this, but Joshy was actually a big inspiration for Winston. That ultimate was actually primarily based off you ripping your shirt off and going Hulk mode.
Rare footage exists, but I'm not going to tell you how to find it. Of the Joshy Rage episode.
I'll do some googling. For now, though, I want to ask you quickly about map predictions. Now, have you ever done this before? Have you ever tried to work out because of the teams where it's going to go?
Sometimes.
Best of 3. What would you expect to crop up?
It's actually crazy to me that we haven't seen Hollywood or Numbani yet.
Right.
I have to think these payload maps are going to surface at some point. We're not going to see Hanamura 3 times today and Anubis multiple times without seeing a Hollywood. That's crazy to me. And I know that Harblue, specifically on TSM, has one of the best flanking Roadhogs in the game. As crazy as that sounds, but it works.
You're going to have to expand upon that.
It works really well on Hollywood. So Hollywood, when you go into point A, you essentially have an SUV, security, and then the left side. Harblue always goes to the left side by himself and almost always gets an early pick for TSM. That's something that they rely on almost is Harblue's flanking Roadhog. You've seen him actually walk the long way around just to get a free kill on a Zen and open the door for his team to burst right through. Nicholas and Torque do such great damage.
Harblue's actually almost similar to Buhor, who we saw play earlier. When he gets onto Roadhog, you get a little bit excited because he does love playing Roadhog and he does like getting those early picks, like you say. And he's very good at getting himself in position at the right time.
Do you think Roadhog is regarded as a niche pick now? Or
definitely, actually, because just the recent patches have not been kind to Roadhog. Basically, McCree's improved Fan the Hammer does much better against Roadhog. Zenyatta resurfacing makes him a pincushion with that Orb of Discord, so you really do see him a lot less, usually favored for Zarya, for one, is almost always present now. The barriers are just invaluable against that Orb of Discord. And then D.Va actually just rising through the ranks again of tanks. You see her a lot more often than Roadhog now.
So he doesn't provide enough, and he's easy to kill, is what we're saying.
I think, his survivability basically plummeted.
Which is kind of odd to say when he has such an easy access, slow cooldown heal. Like, you wouldn't expect it. I do just want to quickly take the opportunity to remind you guys why you're still seeing us. If ever you're still seeing us, and we're talking about him ripping his shirt off and acting like Winston,
Maybe
That's
later.
because we're waiting for players. We're just waiting for the players to hit the big green go button on their desks, and then we'll be loading into that best of 3. So do not fear. Do not sit there saying, go away or less
We actually
choice
told all the
words.
teams just call it a night.
Yeah.
We're just going to chat for a while. So
that's right.
Just
I'm
kidding.
picturing now that there's a team of 6 players somewhere where 5 people have done this, and one player is going, "Where's the button?"
Yeah.
Or like we had last week, someone goes and catches a Pokemon.
Oh
yeah,
man,
we
well
had
that's
that.
understandable.
They
It
ended up
wasn't even a good
qualifying.
Pokemon. It was like a
It was a
ghastly.
ghastly.
Ugh.
Come on.
Yeah.
But he caught it.
Priorities.
Then the team qualified.
Oh well,
It's pretty good.
Coincidence? I think not. I have the maps.
that's probably what we're waiting on then. The Pokemon
Hollywood
strat. Oh,
does
Hollywood.
crop up.
All right.
Okay.
And I can't even remember the other 2. You
I
said
sound
it to
so
me,
smart.
just completely. Kings Row and Gibraltar.
Excellent. 3
Okay.
payload maps.
Boom.
I think that's the first time we've had 3 payload maps.
I think
in a
you're
best
not
of
wrong,
3.
actually.
That might be the first time we've had 3 payload maps tonight.
Which I'm not complaining about, because I really do appreciate that we are seeing diversity in these game modes. I wouldn't want us to all lean towards one. I know payload is often the most preferred, seen as the, well, I mean, Kings Row is a bit of a both, bit of a combo.
Sure.
But, I mean, I'm intrigued to see if this does affect the standings. Does this lean towards one team or the other? Josh?
Hollywood, I think
Hollywood leans
TSM has a
towards
strong
TSM.
grasp on, and Liquid, because Kefri is kind of a newer player, I just don't know. I don't know what we're going to see out of them.
Okay.
So I would give TSM an edge for Hollywood at least.
Well, you've heard Josh's predictions. What are yours? Have you guys been staying up to date with the scene? Do please let us know. Throw us some tweets and various other characters, 140 to be specific, at hashtag OWOpen. That's the hashtag we're going to be using, and you can throw that at various Twitters. We have Twitters. FACEIT has a Twitter. ELEAGUE has a Twitter. Just
Twitter
throw
great?
it at all of them. Throw your characters at us, and we'll be throwing some heroes at you very, very shortly as this cast is about to go down. Now, you've hinted your prediction for Hollywood, but does it deviate for the series?
Well, for the whole series, again, TSM did get second place in last week's bout after going through these
It's hard
same
to see
very
past
strong
them,
teams.
yeah.
So it can, it seems on paper that they should be able to take it. They've also been playing together for so much longer than this Team Liquid team, which we've mentioned before, has kind of moved some pieces around.
John, are you just going to go ahead and copy and paste?
To an extent,
Control
I
C,
think.
Control V?
Team Liquid are a great team of mechanically skilled players, but ultimately, rather than saying, oh, teamwork's much better for one than the other, or anything like that, I actually want to echo your point about TSM just being together and playing together for longer.
Sure.
They have that experience, and that's actually the reason they were able to punch through and reach the finals last week. So it's very difficult for me to see otherwise this time around. Team Liquid did have a couple of moments, shall we say, in the previous match. Li Jiang ended up being, actually quite exciting, to be fair. That was really awesome. But I think that they need to step it up one extra gear to compete with TSM here, is my prediction.
All right. Now, I asked previously, I think I asked John and I asked CP their favorite map. We're about to load in. What did I ask you yours, Josh?
No. Favorite map?
Favorite map, just purely from your personal standpoint, because I want something for these guys to tweet about.
Honestly, Gibraltar is really cool.
Okay.
It's a full payload map. The shuttle room itself is very unique in Overwatch, I think, just as a section of the map that I think is always very exciting to see how teams are able to progress through the shuttle room. So we haven't seen Gibraltar. I haven't been able to cast it at all
We'll cross
today.
our fingers. Maybe you get to cast some Gibraltar over the course of these 4 weeks of the Overwatch Open. This is our second, by the way, if you've just joined us, and the game is ready.
Excellent.
So we can jump into it. It's time for Hollywood's debut. That's kind of a film joke thing there.
Sort of.
Hollywood's debut.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going to be casting down the red carpet. I'm going to walk away. I'm making a fool out of myself. Anyway, it is time for Hollywood, and we're going to be enjoying another best of 3. This time we get to see the boys from North America give it a shot. And after this game, of course, you have the pleasure of LG versus Sodipop. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Alex. We'll see him a little bit later. As he mentioned, LG versus Sodipop Luminosity. That's Seagull and crew. They will be actually our next match after this, but TSM versus Team Liquid should promise to be a great match. TSM, haven't seen them in action yet today. Team Liquid, obviously, we just saw against One Shot. Doing as expected, I would say. Not head and shoulders above One Shot, but enough to put them away.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really nice because we have a favored team and one that might not be coming on so much, but it's very much like they're beatable. Let's put it this way. TSM are definitely beatable. Team Liquid looking to maybe push up and really find a result here. And early on, we have Kefri starting off on Widowmaker.
Yeah, Kefri on that Widowmaker. He actually did get some picks in the Dorado in the previous series as Widow, so could definitely see another grapple shot take out an important target as we move forward here, just edging through security. And that is someone flanking around the left side, already drawing their attention, but it looks like Liquid on the attack. Going with Junkrat and Widowmaker is kind of interesting because it's a kind of a slow push. They need picks to be able to push in with this.
I think ID's looking to lay some covering fire and just say, you guys cannot stand on the payload. We want to basically pick and choose where we are when we engage, and we're going to use Junkrat to zone you out. So we'll see if that works for them. Harblue actually getting picked off early on Roadhog. He will be the first casualty. Khepri looking around the back. There's a Discord bomb on McCree, but he doesn't quite manage to put him away.
And we talked about Harblue and Roadhog, the love affair, but he did die first. That's exactly what we're saying, is that Harblue on that Roadhog, it's almost a high-risk, high-reward pick now because he can get instant kills with the hook combo. He can get instant kills with the right-click sweet spot, and otherwise, he's dead. So it's kind of scary, but look at this. Liquid just stomping all over the point now, capturing it in just over a minute.
And then maybe the meta almost being shown in a way we didn't really consider. Widowmaker, of course, not able to one-shot quite as well as she used to, but at the same time, Zenyatta back into the meta. A lot of the kills Widowmaker got just now were conveniently on targets with Discord Orb, so all of a sudden it's like, hang on, this can be quite effective.
And when you've got AZK hitting the bulk of his shots on McCree too, pretty much anything with the Discord target, just yell it out and get your hitscan players to spin and look at that target. You're going to kill it pretty quickly. Torque on the defense here as McCree is just kind of hanging out. Normally you'll see players on defense on this map Hollywood wait until the payload is just under that bridge. They're actually going to push a little bit earlier than you sometimes see. Several ultimates actually. Torque looking for that Deadeye is going to cancel it as basically everyone just sprints back toward that cafe.
Yeah, and that's really good as well, because when you're in a situation you collapse and you're basically fighting without the high ground advantage, the point is Torque sits back, he threatens to use that and forces Liquid to actually all shield behind Reinhardt. So all of a sudden you don't have any sort of space advantage there.
Excellent flashbang. Just looks like he dropped his shield for like half a second and the flashbang found its way. Nicholas as that Reaper getting a few free shots as the Earth-Shattered targets are laid flat. Khepri actually gets a kill on Harblue, which is interesting, who has actually switched to Diva now for this second phase. It makes a lot of sense when you've got so much high ground to cover. Khepri still on that Widowmaker, does have ult available, now going to give wall hacks to the whole team. They can see through all these walls. You can see the red outlines just like we can as spectators, just for a short time. Taking a couple shots there at the Zenyatta and Lucio. If he managed to find one of those, that's going to be a great pickup for Liquid. But I got to say, TSM folding a little bit here. They're going to try to hold here. Torque actually pops Deadeye again, but falls to AZK.
Yeah, after the initial collapse, when they came down, they're trying to fight on the lower level. I haven't really seen TSM try and regain the high ground. They've kind of been fighting underneath. Diva's kind of out and about a little bit, but I do feel like Liquid now are starting to build a little bit of momentum, and they're progressing steadily through this phase of the map. Would you be doing something differently in this position as TSM?
Well, honestly, it just comes down to who dies when. If you're unable to make a cohesive defense, right now it looks like everyone is up on the side of TSM, so they're going to start to use this doorway. Probably speed boost through once they get Lucio up. Defensive Matrix out, Reinhardt shield up, of course. Going to be able to contest immediately, and the Diva ult actually kills the Riptire.
Wow.
Doesn't kill any characters, just stops ID from getting some free kills, and Torque does actually kill the Junkrat to finish him off. So offense is going to be stalled just a little bit here, almost for the first time this game.
And now Khepri looking for some cover to hide behind so that Widowmaker can actually patiently get a couple of shots off. Still sticking on the hero at the moment. Not getting quite as many kills as you would have liked maybe in the last 30 seconds or so, but there is plenty of time. Torque now coming out, zoning everyone out with a high noon, looking for more kills. Unfortunately, neither side really getting there. Everyone hiding behind shields right now.
This is actually kind of a period where I think Khepri might want to swap off of Widow. It's very difficult to get angles, as you're seeing here. Eventually, they will run into your line of sight if they need to stop the payload, but he didn't actually take the shots at the Earth-Shatter targets. Instead, going for the McCree in the background, didn't even find him. So I would not be surprised to see Khepri be the first one to switch off, but look at that. Torque and Nicholas both scooping a lot of kills there for the side of TSM, forcing Team Liquid to reconsider.
I completely agree with you. I think we're just going to be using the recon site. There we go. And then a potential for a switch off here. Widow just hasn't been quite as effective as she was in the earlier phases of this map. Harblue going down there as well. And it looks like the attack just a little bit blunted. And Khepri is coming back for round 2, though, so we haven't seen that switch off as we might have predicted here for Liquid so far.
Speed boosted Deadeye comes out from AZK, not quite going to find any targets. Khepri now actually does have some stuff to shoot at. He's going to help take out Nicholas on that Reaper. We got dueling transcendences. Who's going to live the most at the end of this? But oh man, Lucio getting knocked flat is an easy pickup there for Khepri. So I stand corrected. The Widow is still finding the picks. Liquid is going to continue to move and take that checkpoint.
lulled a little bit, but ultimately what you want to have as Widow on that checkpoint, you can see Kefri just waiting for the teams that basically start brawling, and then it's like your Reinhardt can't just be shielding everyone all of the time if you have those individual skirmishes, and I'm going to interrupt them with a bullet to the face. So there was a period where maybe for a minute or so Widow didn't really get any kills, but then suddenly finding some purchase, and now that we've reached his checkpoint, Kefri's going to reset his Reaper.
Yeah, it's really tough to get kills on this last point. Even though it is a long straightaway, basically everyone's looking at the Widow already.
Yep,
so it's
sure.
tough to get any kind of tricky angles like we saw on top of that county jail, for example, at the end of the previous stretch. ID does have Graviton Surge available, so looking for a Liquid attack soon. Kefri did just go down, so they're probably going to have to bite the bullet, push the payload as far as they can, but not use those ultimates just yet. Charge actually comes out and catches Mezzer unaware. They do get the kill there. Great shot there. Oh, he didn't get the killing blow. He hit one shot. I thought he hit that long range. It was actually not.
But as a contribution, that was still really good.
Still good. Hardblue does actually get the killing blow there as D.Va, but everything working together for TSM now. Still trying to stop this pretty aggressive push from Liquid. Now that they're regrouped as 6, they've got the Graviton Surge and Deadeye. Could turn out to be a great combo, but with the Reinhardt Shield and D.Va Defense Matrix both coming out, it's going to be difficult to find that super juicy Graviton Surge. Here comes a charge. That could have been a nice Earthshatter moment, but instead, JKW's going to wait, and the Earthshatter whiffs.
Oh, Dahang still has Transcendence available as well, so he's looking for an opportunity for when they push in. It's now 5 people. I wonder if he's basically going to wait until... You want to wait until the very last second where the payload is more or less guaranteed to pop on in. Everyone is trying to stream back out for TSM. Liquid finding themselves in a good position. They can patiently wait for that Transcendence and pop it last second if they want. Ooh, but losing AZK very early on in that engagement before Dahang pops a Transcendence.
It is a very long run back, but AZK is the only player who's died on Liquid, and they now... Yeah, TSM lost Shake, Nicholas, and Torque. All their damage dealers are down. Hardblue trying to stay on the payload as long as he can as D.Va. It gets swatted away, and that's that for the Liquid attack. A minute 45 remaining. Still pretty good time set. I would say average for Team Liquid setting that time. TSM does definitely have an opportunity to try and beat that, and I'm expecting pretty much the same composition. Maybe no Widowmaker for TSM, although... Sometimes they do pull out the Widow on attack. We could see it, I guess. But recently, Widow just hasn't been in the meta so much. It's been very, very kind of sparse usage.
It's certainly possible. And we saw last week, I think, offensive Junkrat. Still a thing, I suppose, occasionally on Hollywood, so that could be a possibility as well. Like you said, it was a decent time. It was fine, but TSM are looking to be super competitive, and if they're able to match the heights that they were playing at last week, they're going to have a very good shot at beating this time here.
Yeah, I think I do expect to see Hardblue on the Roadhog at least. Offensive Junkrat works here because the choke points for A are so narrow.
Yeah,
exactly. The SCV and security choke points are just so narrow. Reinhardt's almost always present on point A, so Junkrat spam either over the shield or into the shield. Both work out great. So we'll see if we get that offensive Junkrat again, but we are going to be flipping sides here shortly to see how TSM's attack goes. But in the meantime, I think Liquid's performance... pretty good. They actually moved through the first 2 phases very swiftly. Didn't really get slowed down much in the third either.
If you were in Team Liquid shoes here and you were saying, look, I just need to delay TSM long enough to win this map. We're not particularly looking for a full hold necessarily because TSM, you know, I would argue that they are expected to finish. Where are Liquid most likely to hold them up? Are we talking high ground in the middle? Are we talking trying to delay them initially on the first point? Where is most likely, do you think?
First point can be pretty rough just because the spawn distances are almost equidistant. And the fact is, if the attackers do happen to get an early pick, then it can be pretty brutal. Normally they're going to lay into a tank and try and just eliminate them the way that Hardblue died first on the other side. So Hardblue doing the flank, that's exactly...
There we
go. He does it every time. They have to know this is coming. If they're not watching for Hardblue on the right side, they're just doing it wrong. Hardblue gets the kill on Kefri! My goodness, people. Learn Hardblue's tactics. Don't let him do that. He does it every time, even though he does go down in the end. It's just funny because he got the kill on Reaper so fast and removed Kefri from the equation. Unfortunately, TSM not able to follow up. So to answer your question, Liquid might just hold here. Very good start for them. Anna's actually in play for the offense now, too, which is interesting. Nicholas playing that Anna.
That's going to be very interesting indeed. Anna's going to, of course, going to have to boost the rest of the team as much as possible. Very tricky support to play. We are going triple support with Lucio and Zenyatta as well on the side of TSM as they move forward for round 2. This time, it is going to be Torque going around the other end.
Yeah, Nicholas is the actually the player that sometimes pulls out the Widowmaker. So Ana actually kind of makes some sense. We'll see if that third support makes sense, though. The Nano Boost, I have to wonder who they're going to use the Nano Boost on, JKW or Harblue. Of course, that could just matter on who has their ult win.
Yep, sure.
But I think both of them are very valuable targets. Look at that, another hook combo onto Kefri, and that is why Roadhog is still used. If you can get the instant kills, he's definitely value in a box. He's just a little bit squishier than the other tanks right now.
And that should more or less be it for the first point. I can't really see another target. No, Liquid are just going to be setting up on the next point around. So, minute 40 currently elapsed. Time to beat 7 minutes 13 seconds. Nobody's panicking on either side yet, but Liquid are going to be looking to pull off a big defense here on the middle and ideally stall for 3 or 4 minutes.
So Harblue is the first one to run up and try and prevent anyone on the defense from taking the high ground. Unfortunately, these lift times actually make such a huge difference if Harblue is able to get up on the rooftops or not. There's the whole Hog ultimate coming out, but with the combination of the Discord Orb and that, oh man, that McCree actually getting laid flat and then destroyed there. Good combination from TSM, but JKW and Harblue are both down. There's no tanks in play for TSM. Dragon Blade comes out, Zenyatta pops his Transcendence immediately to try and defend. Discord Orb and Harmony Orb both on Reinhardt. Discord wins out as they do eliminate him. Torque moving forward, trying to find the squishy supports if he can. And look at this defense, actually. Kefri switched off of the Reaper onto Widow. Not going to get hook comboed quite so much as the Widow.
Not. Be able to pick off people from afar there. So that's going to be very useful. Unfortunately, the Dragon Blade, they're not really working out for Torque. Couldn't quite find the targets. Looking at Reinhardt, but he was switching shields so often that it became a little bit awkward for him to do that. Kefri finding a little bit tough dealing with Genji, on no surprise there on Widow, and we have breaking it down right in the middle. Currently 5v5 in the middle though, and we've got Nicholas with an ult available on Ana, but no ultimate available on Torque just yet.
Yeah, Ana still, we're going to see what that Nano Boost target will be pretty soon here. Kefri having to return to battle now. AZK going down looks good for TSM. Harblue and Shake actually combining for some kills. Harblue off the Roadhog now on McCree is actually kind of interesting to me since Torque and Nicholas are normally, you know, the DPS duo. Harblue at least plays a Diva or Winston, something like that. But
sure,
coming out as the McCree, getting a couple of kills, can't blame him for doing it. Nicholas finally goes down to the proper sniper, Widowmaker, and replaying the lore a little bit.
Poor
in that
Ana.
Case. Poor Ana, but she kills people too, so, you know. Torque has the Dragon Blade out now, looking for some free kills, finds the Reinhardt backside, easily going to be able to swipe him down, and Mezer rejoins his team in the respawn room.
All right, so just under 4 minutes elapsed now. That's quite a lot of time for TSM to complete the last point, but long straightaway, like you said earlier, Joshy, if they're able to find an effective defense to stop them from pushing through the payload round that final bend, then there is still the possibility of stalling out, and also at the point where they come out into the VIP parking lot as well, all sorts of places where you can basically come in from multiple angles and try and kill off the offense very, very quickly.
Yeah, typically the defense is going to allow the payload to get about exactly where it is now. Graviton Surge and Transcendences both coming out there on different sides. Also some beat drops, some sound barrier provided for the side of TSM on attack, but it's just the supports actually still standing. Harblue actually swapped off of McCree back onto Roadhog for this final stretch, which is, it also makes sense because the sight lines for that hook are basically just super straightforward.
Yep, sure. And of course, as soon as you move out into the open at the end, like a quick hook will be able to get you a kill. And you ideally want to stagger the deaths here because the spawn point is so close that if you kill 6 people at once, they are just going to pop back in seconds. But you stagger that would have been good. Excellent shield there to prevent Harblue landing yet another hook.
Earthshatter comes out and hits basically nothing. Another whiff there for Team Liquid's Mezer. Sound Barrier goes out for the side of the defense, and they're trying to rush down Joe Meister, but he actually gets out of town in time to save his own life. Looks like Harblue's getting laid into a little bit here by McCree. They're trying to focus him down, but he actually gets back up to full as well. Kefri going to be the first person to die as Winston on defense, swapped off that Widowmaker. AZK trying to shoot what he can, but with Transcendences and all sorts of ultimates, and that ults the Genji, who pops the Dragon Blade, going to be doing tons of damage until he gets shut down by AZK, but TSM got a lot of mileage out of that.
Yeah, the payload is pushing nearly towards the end there. That's a huge Graviton Surge. Are we going to be able to see this complete quickly? Nick, nowhere close to an ultimate. Torque at least back in the fight soon. And right now, Liquid just need to scramble to sort of compose themselves and get in here to stop the payload from stopping outright. But unfortunately, it's becoming a little bit of a trickle.
Yeah, this is going to be about 90 seconds left or so for TSM, and they're easily going to push into that final point as they eliminate the trickle-in defense, even had a sound barrier and a whole hog to go with it. So good stuff there from TSM. They are going to take game number 1 against Team Liquid.
Right, and I guess as we predicted, TSM perhaps starting this best of 3 as favorites, but Liquid also making it rather difficult for them along the way. It definitely wasn't a steamroll, and Liquid actually had some really good moments to draw on for the next map.
Yeah, Kefri on the Widowmaker actually did some pretty good work on the attack. On defense, it was a little bit short-lived before switching around again, but
Winston was very short-lived.
Yeah, Winston barely lived at all. He was taken from us too soon. But anyway, Liquid, they set a decent time, kind of an average time, but to be able to do that against TSM at all still takes a lot of fortitude and teamwork to be able to set a time. So TSM's attack, Harblue, again, very important on the Roadhog, definitely did not fall too often to the Discord and Sniper combo that we saw. So definitely good job for the supports of TSM to keep them alive. But we are going to head into a break now. On the other side, we'll be back for game number 2 between TSM and Team Liquid. It's going to be another payload map. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.